Good morning, everybody. It's Mike with smartoptiontrading.com. It is Sunday, the 5th of July. This is my week ahead video. No charts today, doing this for free. Kind of beat and in recovery mode. It's been a great weekend, but I'm tired and I'm ready to get back into the action. So I'm going to take today off. We go into next week. Market had a nice little sell-off on Friday for no particular reason. Uh, I do see a lot of rotation taking place out there, and something a lot of people don't want to remember, or they do remember, they still don't like it, is this is typically a weak time of year seasonality for tech, and we kind of seeing that a little bit here. We're also heading towards earnings. Earnings start next week, and that's really going to be the next big driver of this market. From an economic standpoint, this week we have PMI full composite on Monday and ISM, nothing much. The Fed minutes, because this is the first one with Warsh, would probably be very interesting here. They'll be dissected more than usual. You got a 30-year Treasury auction on Thursday. On Friday, you have the WASD Eve report. Only interesting because of all the talk of food shortages brought on because of what went on in the Iranian war in the Gulf. But we'll see if that actually shows up here. And that's the only reason I bring that up. Otherwise, normally I would not care. Like I said, earnings, it's dead. You look around here, there's just nothing going on here. You have Pepsi on Thursday morning. You have Delta Airlines on Friday AM. So, maybe something there. From a sentiment perspective, we've seen some changes here, not much, but you look what's going on. Market here on the oscillators are positive side of neutral, sitting here at plus 58, plus 68, nothing to see here. Your advanced decline lines, despite Friday's quote unquote bad action, look at the move up in the Dow and the SPX and the small caps, and even the NASDAQ didn't go anywhere. Highs versus lows on the S&P 500, 138 versus 7. These are fabulous numbers getting stronger. On the NASDAQ, which everybody was crying about on Friday, 321 versus negative 103. These remain very, very strong. Your puts a call, you have a very bold up reading. This is typically contrarian, so we'll keep an eye on that. And overall market breadth continues to be leading up on both the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ New York Stock Exchange at an all-time high. ES, when you look at this, the ES just says it's sideways, right? It ain't going anywhere. We've had some wide range candles, but basically since this wake up candle here, we had 2 days of action and 3 days inside on a quiet week and just off the all-time high. And there's nothing to see here. Nothing looks bad. The NQ, little similar, weaker, came down and bounced off the 50-day. Crude overall remains weak under 70. That's good. Gold, silver trying to strengthen. Oops, a little bit. That's good. Bitcoin also trying to firm back up to the 21-day. The VIX, I'm sorry, bonds. One thing I don't like is bonds. Bonds couldn't hold. They dumped back down. Not great. The VIX, nothing going on here. HYG trading with the markets sideways. The transports at all-time highs. That's good for the markets. And the dollar continues to try to weaken a bit. So for the next week, you look at the S&P 500. So we came up Friday, we kissed this downtrend area, we were rejected, we came down, but we held the 8 and the 21-day into the close, and there's nothing going on here. As long as you hold there and above the 50-day, you're fine. If not, you come down, you could retest this double bottom, but we do have a W formation here, right? Little W formation waiting for a breakout. The Qs, despite everything there, came in, held the 50-day, doesn't look bad. The IWM is trading just off the all-time high put in on Wednesday. The Dow is trading at an all-time high. Like I said, there's rotation. The financials, after looking weak, woke up in a major way. Wells Fargo had a nice couple of days. Goldman holding in, JP Morgan, okay. KRE, the regional banks pushed up before they came in. You get the idea. The insurers also very strong right now, which is helping to drive them. Energy remains mostly weak and out of play. XBI has been going under rotation for a while. New highs here. IBB, they just continue to pile into biotech and pharma. Lilly just off the all-time high. Merck having a nice move. J&J, new all-time highs. Moderna at a multi-year high. This continues to rally for no particular reason. Somebody pulled out Gilead, nice wake-up candle there on Friday, by the way. That was Zozo Trader, by the way. I give you credit for that one, calling that out. That was a nice look, waking up there, right? So we're seeing some action there. Moving on. Names like Boeing woke up on Friday. Nice wake-up candle. Could that get back up and try to break out? We'll keep an eye on it, but we'll see if we can take out that 230 area. CAT continues to hold in okay. We said we have Pepsi earnings coming up. FDX, okay. UPS, they're okay, not far from highs. That one looks nice chart there. We've seen Visa and MasterCard and the payment space suddenly waking up. Not sure why, but it's, maybe just getting it's set in the cycle. What else? We'll go out there and look around. Let's talk about the semis. This is where the weakness is. So we've had big weakness here on Friday into the semi sector, and this SMH just came down for the first time in a couple months, 3 months, and hit the 50-day and held it. Here's what you need to watch. If the semis continue to sell, that's going to put pressure on the markets. Why? Because the SMHs are such a big part now of the indexes. If the semis bounce, it's going to help propel, especially if we continue to widen out. So the SMHs, let me look around what's going on. Let's start off with DRAM. That's the memory space. Hit harder, almost to the newly formed 50-day. This is the first time it's under the 21 days since its inception. SanDisk got brutalized, overdue. See if it holds the 50-day. Micron, brutalized, overdue. I would just watch first into here, this 900 area, and then I would watch down here into the 50-day, which should be around the 862 area, right? Western Digital, STX, all beaten up. AMAT, which had been a leader, came off the all-time high, held a 21-day. LRCX, right? Similar type action. AMD came down, held the 21-day from an all-time high. Intel, all-time highs back under the 21-day. Again, watch the 50-day. Mike, NVIDIA. NVIDIA continues to be the wicked stepchild that nobody wants anything to do with it. I don't have a good answer for you here. It continues to bounce off the 200-day. You can try to be long versus that if you really want to be in it. Overall, they just don't want it. Other names like Qualcomm, not great. MRVL, which had been very good back under the 21-day. ARM, also some selling pressure there. So we're seeing a little bit of pressure across that whole sector. What has woken up is software, IGV. Nice move up here for last week. Can it get to the 200-day? Microsoft is one of the leaders there. Broke above the 21-day, closed above it on Friday. 100-day, your next target up there at 440. Excuse me. Salesforce above the 21-day. Can it get to the 50-day? Snow, which should be flying, isn't. I can't figure this name out, but that one they're holding well. Names like IBM have woken back up and are working back up. ServiceNow coming back up. Palantir had a very nice move. I'm still long some calls, looking for a move to the 50-day there. Even Path, which has been beaten up. Nice little move there. We'll see if it can wake up. Oracle, still, they don't want it. Left for dead. And we talk about mega cap tech. We'll start off with Tesla. Tesla, that's an ugly candle. We talked on in the room on Thursday morning, and I said before the numbers came out, it's very possible they had front run those numbers. That's what it looked like. Were the numbers good? Yep, delivery numbers were good. Why'd they sell it? Well, I don't have a good reason for you, but they dumped it. So where does it want to go now? So we come all the way down here. We're back under all the moving averages, sliced right through the 200-day. Are we going to turn around and bounce back up or not here? This is a candle that says look out. Engulfed the previous 2+ days of action, and that was a big down candle on big volume. RIBN, by the way, had great delivery numbers trying to break out. This one has room to 20 plus. I'd keep an eye on that. Meta, another one, looked so good on that gap up on that news on Wednesday and on Thursday, was giving it back. And then Zuck didn't help things and came out and said Llama 4's new model is not going as well as they expected. I mean, here's the problem you're facing with Meta. I personally do not believe Meta is going to be a big AI play at this point. I think they've missed the boat. I think when you look at what's going on with AI, it's going to be Anthropic, it's going to be Gemini, it's going to be a OpenAI slash Microsoft, because remember, Copilot is OpenAI, and maybe Grok can sneak in there. Meta is going to be very self-serving with which they do a great job with it, but nobody seems to have an interest in their open source and using it on their own. So, the question will be how much more money are they going to continue to dump into that versus where they do something like Apple does and they went out there. So Meta brutalized. We'll see if it can hold here. If not, it's going to come down and fill that gap back to 563. Amazon, holding here looks okay above the 200-day. This could wake up and move to the 50-day if it wants to this week. Google pushed back off that 100-day, looking for a 50-day move there as well. Speaking of Apple, cannot not talk about Apple. Huge move on Thursday. Wake up candle. Here's your highs, recent highs up there. You got a little ways to your all-time highs. I'm sorry, 316, 317.40 is the all-time high. We'll see if we can get up there, but that is a wake up candle. I like that. Lastly, we got to talk about Mr. Musk again and SpaceX. SpaceX will go into the NASDAQ 100, the Qs, on Tuesday morning. That means funds have to start be buying it into the close on Monday. So on Monday, all right, watch this for a move. We'll see. Can it push up? That should be your buy. That should prevent some buying, push some buying into the name. All right, guys. With that said, I hope you all have a great week. It should be a fairly quiet week as we wait for earnings, and I'll catch you guys right in the room on Monday morning.